exactly does that mean, coming back to wholeness? Wholeness means that perception that we are our source selves. Coming back to wholeness means remembering. Hi guys, my name is Rebecca Abraxas, and I want to share a song with you today. I want to share a song with you called Move Through the Day. And it's all about coming back to that wholeness. And coming back just means remembering. And wholeness means being our whole source, infinite beingness. That's how I see it anyway. And that perspective really helps me through my life with all the non-significant things that we make really significant, or that I know I can make really significant. So let me share this song with you and let me know what you think. What do you know about wholeness? Little braids dangled down, curled up like a ball, weeps into her little hand. She's feeling it all. She's feeling it all. Stands up bright as the sun, fresh as a new day. Her weeping is now done. Grief not here to stay. Grief not here to stay. Move through the day. Nothing is ever here to stay. Come through back to you. See what you can undo to come back to you. Fist clenched and drenched with rage, spitting words to decay. Caught in his own cage, peace will depend. Peace will depend. Lighting up the scale, taking a new view. Hope is a lifted sail. Light is breaking through. Light is breaking through. Climbing up the scale, taking a new view. Hope is our lifted sail. Light is breaking through. Light is breaking through. Move through the day. Nothing is ever here to stay. Come through back to you. See what you can undo to come back to you. All right, beautiful people, coming back to you. This song is about the emotional guidance scale Abraham Hicks talks about. And so just when you play with the emotions, they have a scale of 1 to 22 that helps play with emotions and see where you're at, and then how to kind of raise your vibration back up, so not to stay in that emotion, that lower frequency emotion. Now, when we're in our emotions, I know it can feel so real, right? And so significant, especially grief, right? But this song, every time I sing it, reminds me that that's not who we really are. And the emotion is just an indicator of that we have left the perspective of wholeness. Because if we had the perspective of our allness and wholeness, would anything really be getting us down or angry? Or no, it would just kind of be like, I would almost like laugh at it. Because if we are whole, we could go through something, but we rise back up with ease. And sometimes we get stuck. We get stuck in an emotion and we think that we're this instead of this. So coming back to wholeness helps us to expand back out from this contracted state into an expanded, broader perspective of what and who we really are. So that is what I see wholeness as. Is that making sense? Let me know in the comments. And what do you know about wholeness? I studied Holy Fire Reiki for a long time, and I've practiced it, and they talk about that is the goal of Reiki, is to bring us back to wholeness, that perspective of allness and wholeness. So wholeness, you may think it includes everything, right? If wholeness includes every part of our beingness, emotions, thoughts, energetics, body, our spirituality, it does. It includes all of it. So having our human experience and our human condition is all of it, right? And it's participating in life. It's participating in the physical reality, the hologram, right? But it doesn't mean that we perseverate or get stuck in one area, say a thought area or just an energetic area or an emotion. We're not just those one things. And the way I like to see it is all those things kind of work together systemically to create and participate in this physical reality. And they're all moving parts. I'm doing this with my hand. I don't know, it just started happening, but it's just like the energy keeps moving. We're all those things, and it keeps moving and systemically moving. What happens when we break the body up in little segments, right? Rather than looking at it as a systemic system that all is working together in checks and balances. You know, when we just categorize it, we kind of miss things, I think. I've been a wellness practitioner for a long time, and when I see people having physical symptoms or feeling certain like stucknesses in their body or contractions and density in their body, it seems like the body wasn't looked at as a whole. And so when we think about wholeness, you know, we can use the body as a metaphor. All the parts have to be moving and working together and not separated, and not one more significant than the other. And so same thing when we come to our wholeness as a being. All those parts, the thoughts, the feelings, the emotion, the intuition, the wisdom, the knowing, the awareness, the body, the energetics, the meridians, the chakras, all of it has to kind of be weaving and moving together. It's a flowing energetic. And when we box one up and say, you know, this is super important right now and nothing else, we don't relate it to the rest of the whole, I think that's when we can get into a lot of discomfort in our life, a lot of resistance, and even body pain and density and anxiety. So what I've noticed is that when we're willing to expand into wholeness and really work those moving parts and keep them all flowing together as a system, life becomes more easeful, life becomes more fun. The body is happier, right? We go through emotions, but we aren't our emotions. We don't stay there for very long. And that's a lot more fun. And so the past few videos, I talked about the bliss body and happiness, and that happiness really is a choice, because when we're having this whole perspective and we're working systemically with everything, then we know that what we truly are, and we remember what we truly are, and we know these are just moving parts that are coming and going. And so we don't have to stagnate and perseverate and over focus on one area, one thought, one emotion. We can let it move through and then come back to our wholeness. And emotions, what if emotions and thoughts were just letting us know where we have stagnated, where we have put a stop in the whole system. And then we get awareness and we say, oh, okay, let's move that. And then we keep flowing. Now, yeah, I know it's easier said than done when life's going not so well, but I have experience with that too. My best friend, my dad, passed 6 years ago, and the grief was really intense, really intense. But I felt it like a wave, guys. It would come in waves, and I remember being scared to actually feel it. I kind of wanted just to resist it because I had to work and I had young kids. And I was nervous that if I felt it that big, that I would just collapse for the rest of the week. And that's not what happened. It was very interesting. So I allowed it to just move through, and I sobbed and I moved my body through it. And honestly, guys, those bouts of grief moved through within 10 to 20 minutes. And then I was completely whole and happy again. I find that very interesting. I find that so interesting when I went through that heavy grief experience. My dad passing was one of my greatest fears, and he always had my back. I loved our conversations, and he was the best grandpa ever. The thought of him passing was so awful and grief-stricken that when it actually happened, I almost feel like I grieved a lot before it even happened. But with grief and with heavy feelings, let them keep moving. Let them be part of the whole. Because when we contract them and identify with them and revolve our identity around that emotion, we stop the whole system. Okay, that perspective of wholeness contracts into something a lot smaller, and it's a lot more painful. So what we do is we expand into our wholeness and see how this is running through. We allow the emotion to come through, let it come through like a wave. I love the ocean, so just think of waves coming in, coming out, coming in, and just think of the ocean as your wholeness, and those waves moving in and out. You know, no wave more significant than the other. However, if it's a tsunami or a big storm wave, think of some of, the crashing and stuff. And sometimes there's a little bit more to pick up afterwards, right? But the wave eventually leaves, and we can come back into wholeness and just clean up the whole system. So beautiful people, move through the day. Nothing is ever here to stay. Come through back to you and your wholeness. See what you can move through to come back to you. Namaste.